As everyone said, we have someone who's very inspiring today. I look at him as the Gita. Whenever I read the Gita, I learn something new. And whenever I hear him speak, I learn something new. A school dropout who went to do his engineering in computer science from NIT Calicut, an MBA from IIM Bangalore, Mustafa PC's love for traditional Indian food complements his penchant for technology and innovation. In 2005, he joined hands with four of his cousins in Bangalore to start ID Fresh Foods. As the brain behind India's largest fresh fruit brand, Mr. Mustafa has been lauded with so many prestigious awards, such as the Forbes Tycoons of Tomorrow, India Today, Make in India Award, JCI National Award, Vocational Excellence Award, and Entrepreneur India Award, IMB Distinguished Alumni Award, to name a few. He closely works with the Directorate of the Indian Army Veterans for the welfare of Army Martyrs' kin. He's also part of the Prime Minister's Champions of Change team with a vision to build a new India by 2022. He's been invited to share his success story at various esteemed platforms, including the Harvard Business School, MIT Sloan, and United Nations. With an emphasis on innovative packaging and unique product delivery, Mr. Mustafa has helped pave the way for a revolution in the fresh food market in India. Now, trust me, this is going to be one cracker of a talk. If you're excited about this webinar, type in excited. Let's keep the chat rolling. If you're excited about this webinar, go to your chat box and type in excited. Brilliant. We have more than 200 entrepreneurs joining us. So with a huge round of applause, wherever you are sitting at home, please welcome Mr. Mustafa.
Thank you, Anmol. Can you all hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Talk. Thank you, Sadish. Thank you all for joining me today. In the name of God, peace be unto you. We have a 45 to 50 minute session. So I'll probably try to structure it to three parts. First part, I'll quickly talk about what is ID all about and how did we build ID. And second thing, we talk about innovation within ID and how do we approach innovation. And the last part, we talk about how do we handle crisis in ID, especially in the current situation that we all go through. So we'll structure it to 15-minute session. I think 5 to 6 minutes, 6 to 7 minutes probably I'll talk, and then we'll have a Q&A session followed by each section. Is that fine? Okay, so here we go. So hope you all know about ID. We started ID in 2005-06 time in a very small setup. All what we had was 50,000 rupees. With that money, we bought one grinder, one weighing scale, one sealing machine, one second-hand TVS scooty. Our job was to go to market every day, buy rice and dal, come back, soak it, clean, wash, then grind, mix it, ferment it, pack it, then load it on the second-hand TVS scooty and go to the market ourselves and sell it ourselves. It was a back-breaking work. Our shirt would be soaked in the sweat, but we really enjoyed it. That's the past. It took us 9 months to sell 100 packets. It took us 9 months to get 20 customers in Bangalore. Today, we reach out to more than 30,000 outlets every single day. We reach close to around 2 million customers every single day with world's best food, idli. So in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to quickly tell you how did we build this brand ID. As you can see, any person would have DNA. Similarly, any business would have DNA. So this is DNA of ID. These are 7 very, very important parts of the DNA of ID. First and foremost part is the people. It was extremely important for us to get the right mix of people with entrepreneurial mindset and professional talent. When we started it as a family business. Me and my 4 cousins started it in a very small setup. But then beyond a point, for us to scale it up to this level, it was extremely important for us to bring in professional talent from the market. That's when we managed to get the right people from the market at the right time into ID. And today we have the right mix of people. In fact, the founders of the team actually report into the professional people who came from the market. So we are that flexible because we have the right intention to build the right business. And that can happen only when you have the right set of people on board. Second, the product. I know everyone talks about product, but I think this is somewhere we all go wrong. We end up doing over engineering to some great extent. If you can see ID's product, we don't sell idli. A homemaker in India will never buy idli from outside and serve to the family. We all know about it. She is okay to buy idli batter, cook steaming idli, and serve fresh idli to the family. If idli comes out well, she gets a credit, not me, ID. And if for some reason, if dosa is not crispy, she can blame it on me, brand ID. It was extremely important for me to ensure that I don't sell idli to Indian customers. I sell only idli batter. We don't take the credit from the maker. We give the products which customers can add value. What I've learned is never try to replace your customer. Help your customers to do their job better. In this case, never try to sell idli to a homemaker in India. Give her products like idli batter so that she can add value, add her love, and take the credit for the food that she served on the dining table. Never try to replace the customer. That's about the product. Today, ID is not a batter company. We are probably world's best fresh food distribution company. We own our own fleet. We have 375 fleets, 375 vehicles with around 600 salesmen in 45 cities, operating daily distribution, every store, every product, every day. And that has been the mantra from day one. And the whole thing is built using a zero inventory business model across. So for a fresh food distribution company, having an own self-owned distribution network was the key. And today, that's my biggest asset. My next point is about technology. When we talk about technology, we all think it is mobile apps and internet. It is not just mobile apps and internet. It is also about manufacturing technology. It's also about analytics. So I'll probably, in the interest of time, I'll talk about one important point that we have done in ID in terms of technology. Let me talk about the grinders. As we all know, you get the best idli when you have the best batter. To get the best batter, you need to follow the traditional wet grinding technology followed by our grandmothers at home. Now, a traditional wet grinder available, I'm talking about stone grinders available in India, grinds around 1.5 kg of dal per hour. Last week, during the lockdown, I had to grind close to around 1.6 lakhs kg of batter in a day. You can now imagine the number of grinders required. Probably I will need half of Whitefield to get it done, to set up the factory. Probably I would need lakhs of people to grind the batter. Moreover, when you have many people handling it, you will not get the consistent quality. And most important part, these grinders are not meant for hygiene. You cannot avoid hand messing. It's not easy to clean the machine. When you are around, your employees would wear the mask properly, cover the head, right? Wear the gloves, no shoes. But while you're not around, they will end up doing this. You can't help it. That's where we have to innovate on technology. Now, for us to scale up and to reach this level of manufacturing, which is around 1.6 lakhs kg of batter per day, it was extremely important for us to invest in technology, especially on the back end. Now, as we all know, most of the food processing machineries are innovated in Germany. Unfortunately, Germans don't eat idli dosa. So I had nothing to copy from. But we didn't give up. We still went to Germany. We identified a related product, which is nothing but mustard paste making machine. We got the mustard paste making machine to India, got it customized to make idli dosa batter out of it. So the same size grinder, probably my height, and this size will today grinds 5,000 kg of batter per hour, not 1.5 kg of dal per hour. Investment in such technology was extremely important for us to scale up. Today, I'm able to get the Bangalore production done with just 2 machines that came from Germany, which is the mustard paste making machinery. So investing in technology, whether it is the back end, distribution, or the front end, was extremely important. So I just gave you one example of technology investment on the back end. We have a lot of such stories. In the interest of time, I'm just passing to the next point, which is nothing but branding and packaging. For a fresh food business, especially for FMCG business, if you get the product right, if you get the packaging right, you get market right. So it was extremely important to get us the right packaging. We invest to get the very attractive packaging and very innovative packaging from day one, and that really worked for us. In fact, to build this brand, today we are a 1,500 crore brand. To build this brand, in the last 10 years, we just spent 30 crores in branding and marketing, nothing else. Just 30 crore rupees is what we spent in 10 years to build a 1,500 crore worth brand. How did we do it? Innovation. Innovation was extremely important for any business. It is extremely important for any business even today. As you all know, there is no rocket science in making idli dosa batter. Anybody can make idli dosa batter. With just 1 lakh rupee investment, all of you can go ahead and start idli dosa business tomorrow. No rocket science, no entry barrier. It was extremely important for us to innovate continuously and stay ahead of competition. We looked at innovation at every aspect of business, and we really focused on innovation on the packaging as well, in a marketing campaign as well. So I'm going to talk about innovation in the second part of the session. So I'm just skipping it, but I can tell you one thing. Innovation is the only way to build a strong brand and to stay ahead of competition. And we have done the whole thing with uncompromised approach to ethics. I'll be proud to narrate this story to my grandchildren one day in future, that I built this brand without compromising values. We have never taken shortcuts in our life. So this is a summary of my first session. IDS DNA is all about the right mix of people, right product, which is idli, not idli batter, self-owned distribution network, built using technology at every level of the business, right packaging and branding, continuous innovation, and uncompromised approach to ethics. I'll be happy to take a few questions on this session. Thank you.
So please go ahead and put your question in the Q&A box so that it's different from the chat. There's a Q&A box. Just type out your question and I will read that out. So we have a couple of questions in distribution for transportation. Will go to higher cost. How are you managing that?
It is part of the business. You have to factor that into the business. Own distribution is expensive, but that is extremely important for a fresh food business.
How about managing local competition?
Especially during the initial days, it will be very expensive. So in the case of ID, if you look at a market like Bangalore, my distribution cost will be around 10% of my revenue. Whereas if you look at a market like Mumbai, I would be spending close to around 25% of my revenue on distribution. It takes time. That's investment required. But at the end of the day, you build an Amazon of fresh food business, which is nothing but distribution.
Sir, Anmol, I'll ask one question to Mr. Mustafa.
Sure.
And convincing homemakers is the biggest challenge everyone faces. You are directly catering to the homemaker segment. How you have any kind of a market intelligence always you used to get direct feedback from homemakers on your product? Please brief on that.
Sir, convincing a homemaker is the toughest challenge. I am yet to crack it. Just to take numbers, if you look at Bangalore market, Bangaloreans eat close to around 1.5 crore idli per day. And I serve today batter for around 10-12 lakhs idli per day. 12 lakhs idli per day. So I'm still around 8% of the market share. Even though people think that we have the monopoly in the market, we still have 8% market share. Those grinders at home are my biggest enemy. That's my challenge today. I have to get rid of those grinders at home. It is not easy. It takes time.
Thank you.
Sure. How do you manage local competition?
So it all depends on how you consider competition. I don't consider local competition as my competition. I consider grinder as my competition. Because if you look at Bangalore market, Bangalore sells close to around 50,000 kg of batter per day. And we do around 80% of that. So my headroom is only for 20% of the remaining thing if I consider local competition as the competition. Whereas if I start considering the homemaker who makes batter at home, that is like 93% of the total market share. As I mentioned earlier, local batter player is not my competition. My competition is the grinders at home.
Sure. Santosh is asking, how did that innovation happen with the hole in the vada? How did that come about?
About innovation in the second part, so I'll just park that question.
Okay, sure. Are you into exporting? Please elaborate. What is the, how much does it cost and the method of distribution?
We deal with highly perishable fresh food. So the export is not an option for us because our product is spoiled within 3 to 6 days. But then we do our operation, reasonably good operation in UAE, Dubai. We started Dubai operation with our own plant in Dubai 4 years ago. In a span of 4.5 years, we're already doing around 25% of the market share from Dubai.
Sure. Top 3 challenges you faced while scaling up.
Money was one challenge. Getting the right mix of people, especially during the startup stage. Idli business was not a fancy business. Nobody was willing to join you. It was very difficult for me to take or, to attract the right talent into the organization. And third thing, I think technology. When I say technology, as I mentioned earlier, getting the right kind of machinery to scale up this product was very key. I would say these are 3 things: money, talent, and technology.
Sure. How do you pass on your vision, mission, and your passion to the last man on the line?
I still don't know. I'd be lying if I tell you one answer for it, but I can tell you one thing that we have done in the current crisis. It was easy for me to run away from my responsibility. It was easy for us to shut down the plant. I would have made more money, or I would have saved more money by shutting down the operation today. But then we live for a purpose. We belong to essential commodities. Our customers need us the most in this crisis period. Think of a policeman deciding not to attend the work. Think of a hospital shutting the shop. Think of a pharmacy. Think of a retailer closing the shop. We will not be able to survive. We took these examples and tried to pass this message to the team, saying that we should not run away from our responsibility. We should, in fact, support our customers in this difficult time. I think that kind of purpose-driven message might help you to reach to some level, but I still don't know the correct answer. I'm still learning.
I can see that attribute of constantly being a student and learning. I think we have to do that to be successful. Akshay is asking, the local batter players would be giving a much higher margin to the retailers. How did you manage to convince retailers to stock your material?
So any business with higher margins to retailers or even to companies is not sustainable in the long run. Somebody would be able to give them some short-term incentive, but that's not sustainable. I've seen many brands coming in Bangalore trying to disrupt our business model and give 50-60% margin to retailers. But we have a standard margin and we stick to that. And we know these guys will be there for 1 or 2 years and will disappear from the market because it is not a sustainable model. So I think it is important for us to understand what is a workable profit margin at every level and stick to that.
Sure. And then do you think all your brand building exercises, your ATL communication has played a major role in pulling in the customers?
Why don't you just park this question towards the end?
Sure.
I will answer to you on the branding. Just hold this. This should be our last question.
Okay, sure. I've made note of it. I will bring that up.
Last
great. So we have a lot of questions. This can go on. We have close to 47 questions. So I will leave it to you if you want to field more questions or if we want to move to the next segment.
Up to you. So we have a 45 minutes, 50 minute session, right? So I think we've already done 30 minutes.
Right. I will take one more question and then probably move on. Arun is asking, how do you hire professional talent, manage and retain them?
So it's a big challenge. I think this is something all of us go through. One thing that I've done or we try to do is try to get people who are aligned with the value system. If some people are joining you for money, may not be the right set of people for you to get on board, especially in the senior management level. But if someone is really concerned, so let me tell you one of the employees one of the senior managers that we have hired in ID. He lost his dad for cancer. I met him and he was a very senior employee in one of the organizations. And the way we talked was, we should do something about it. There are a lot of pesticides, chemicals, preservatives in the food. We're actually fighting a war against preservatives. Do you want to join me in this journey? Do you want me to join me in this war against preservatives? He was ready. He didn't look at the money part. Of course, we have to pay him market salary, but I think it is extremely important for you to get people who have a purpose in their life. In our case, we run this business for a purpose, and that is nothing but fighting a war against chemicals in the food, fighting a war against preservatives in the food. And people who want to join that army are welcome. Now, it is not just money. We also incentivize them in terms of company shares. We bring them as partners in ID. Right set of people, we bring them as partners in ID. Yeah, over to you.
Sure. I think we can move to the next segment. I'm really excited to hear more from an innovation perspective. I'm sure that'll be a big value add.
Okay. I think as I mentioned to you earlier, there's no rocket science in making idli dosa batter. Anybody can make it. But then you can innovate even for idli dosa batter. You can innovate even for fresh food business. What do you need for innovation? Is nothing but common sense. Common sense is the most important ingredient for innovation, which is reducing dangerously these days. We end up complicating everything. I am going to share a couple of stories of innovation in ID in the next 5-6 minutes. As I mentioned earlier, idli dosa batter, we were selling in a plain, there was, before we came to the market, there were a lot of players in the market who were selling idli dosa batter in a plain pouch with a rubber band on top. It had all sort of quality issues, hygiene issues, and service complaints. We tried to innovate a zero inventory business model across. Throughout a supply chain, we innovated a zero inventory business model, and that really worked out. In terms of packaging, we innovated a boat-shaped packaging, which is more like a transformer, meaning it is a pouch during transit and storage, and it's a vessel once you ziplock open it, and you can serve or you can cook idli or dosa directly from the pouch. So we innovated this packaging, which is a patented packaging for the shape of the packaging, which did wonders for us. So a product like idli dosa batter, you could bring in packaging as innovation. So in the span of around 10 years, we reached close to around 1 million household on a daily basis with world's best food idli. Now, as we all know, vada goes best with idli. Vada is a great snack. Kids love vada. A South Indian breakfast is incomplete without chutney and a filter coffee. I'm going to come to those points later. Let's talk about vada now. Vada is one of the most difficult snacks to make at home, unless you're an expert like your grandmother. You can't get the shape right for the vada. You can't get the size right for the vada. Even if you give vada batter, it's a messy job. And the most important part is the hole. We Indians don't eat a vada without a hole. Vada without a hole is not a vada, it's a bonda. We used common sense to identify that vada goes best with idli. We used common sense to identify that the most important part for the vada is the hole. We then used common sense to put a hole for the vada. It took us 3 years to build a hole for the vada. We failed 100 times. We didn't give up. Today, just by squeezing ID vada batter pack, you get the vada in the right shape, right size, untouched by hand. It is a 2-minute job to make vada at home now. Let me just show you how we made the vada pack.
This is no ordinary snack, a South Indian speciality. It's a favorite in homes across India, but its circular cylindrical shape and donut-like hole make it fairly difficult to prepare at homes. It needs the expert hands of grandmas and aunts or even restaurant cooks. Not anymore. ID decided to turn its attention on this age-old problem and transform the complex art of vada making into a science for everyone. And the key ingredient? Common sense. A path-breaking little big invention. The spout that shapes batter into vadas with the hole. And that's it. Squeeze, shape, cut, fry. Handmade, but with no mess, no stress. Just delicious, crispy vadas. ID, maker of India's favorite batters and fresh food, presents Vada Batter in a pack that shapes batter into vadas. Now, everybody can vada.
Thank you. Anmol, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
we are with you.
All right, okay. Were you able to follow the audio as well?
Yes, all smooth.
Perfect.
So we did look at how to innovate for every product at every stage of the product life. For example, in this case, we used a simple nozzle, which is an umbrella shaped nozzle, as you can see in the pack, to make the vada in the right shape. As I mentioned earlier, it took us 3 years to build a hole for the vada. We failed 100 times. Techies call it 3D printing of vada. World call it innovation. We used our common sense. We used our common sense to identify this opportunity. We used our common sense to build a brand. So my message to all of you about innovation is, if you want your organization to innovate, build a culture of failure. Build a culture to celebrate failures so that you get products like vada. We all celebrate success, but when we fail, we don't celebrate. In this case, when we failed 99th time, we still celebrated, saying that yes, we got that vada, but it is not the right hole. Still okay, we celebrated. So Start celebrating failures so that you get products like Vada. That's my message to you on this one. Now, how do you do innovation? Which is nothing but look around, right? You need to look around, identify customer problems, and solve it using common sense. So let me now show you two more such innovations that we have done very recently, which is like 1.5 months ago, just before the lockdown. Look around to continuously innovate, identify customer problems. You find a problem, try to solve it for the customer. When you can't find a problem while looking around, what do? Look up. Then you see the humble coconut.
At ID, we've always looked around for food problems to solve. This time, we looked up. The tender coconut, a tough nut full of guesswork. Maybe it's time you stop buying them without knowing what you're getting. It's time for coconuts with KYC. Thanks to science and a common sense statistical model, here is ID Smart Sip Tender Coconut with KYC. Know your coconut without opening it. It's hygienic, light and portable, and easy. Feel to drink, push to eat. New ID Tender Coconut that's KYC ready. Know your coconut.
So a simple product like coconut can be $1 billion business opportunity. As per our study, Bangalore alone consumes close to around 5 lakh tender coconuts per day. You can imagine the market size, including markets like Chennai. So my message to you all, or to all of you even here, is when you can't identify a problem around, look up. You will find products like coconut, which you can innovate continuously and make it a super hit in the market. Now, if you can see in this product, it is not about shaving the product. It is not about putting a hold for the coconut. It's about the KYC that we're talking about, which is nothing but know your coconut before you buy it. You have no idea what is inside the coconut before you open it. So without me opening the coconut, I have predicted using technology and common sense what is inside this coconut. The amount of water inside the coconut, the pulp gram, as well as the sweetness level of the coconut. That is common sense. That is innovation. I don't think anybody else in the world has done something called KYC. KYC is nothing but know your coconut, not know your customer. This is my second innovation that we've done recently. Next point is about chutney. I told you about chutney earlier. Chutney is a tough nut to crack. Main reason being, a coconut chutney gets spoiled within 2 hours. There is no way I can do a chutney without adding chemicals in it. And as a matter of philosophy, as a matter of ethics, we will not add chemicals and preservatives in the food. We then try to launch grated coconut so that homemakers can make chutney at home easily. The challenge was again shelf life. It has to be either frozen, or it has to be desiccated coconut, or it has to be grated coconut with chemicals and preservatives. Option with chemicals and preservatives, frozen option as well as the desiccated option was not an option as per ID standard, because we always believed serving it fresh. We always believed keeping it natural. Now we tried different packaging options available. Nothing worked. Every packaging, if you pack it fresh without chemicals and preservatives, gets spoiled within few hours. We were not willing to give up. We still want to ensure our customers get grated coconut. So we went back to the Almighty God. For every product, there's a natural packaging created by the Almighty God. We only need to replicate it. We only need to adapt it. So this time, we've just launched a product called grated coconut, but the beauty is not about the product. Beauty is about its packaging. What we've done is we packaged grated coconut in a coconut. So we call it coconut in a coconut. So let me just play a video for you, which is coconut in a coconut.
Finally, some news that's not fake. ID presents the world's best packaging for grated coconut. The coconut, grated in the shell for that unmistakable flavor. Hygiene sealed for just grated juicy freshness. ID grated coconut. It's coconut in a coconut.
Thank you. So let me just summarize. For any business, to bring innovation, what you need is nothing but common sense. And to promote a failure organization. And how to identify customer problems? Look around, identify customer problems. When you can't find a problem around, look up and identify tender coconut and grated coconut. Thank you.
Fantastic. Wow, that was indeed wonderful. Mr. Prabhu, go ahead.
Fantastic, Mr. Mustafa. And as you mentioned, in your DNA, you mixed everything in a very good manner. So we are getting a fantastic product and also a company in India. Thank you. Thanks a lot for your inspiring and meaningful talk. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, I loved the KYC concept. Know your coconut. I think that was a brilliant master stroke. I think ID should stand for innovation development. This is what I've been thinking. Right. So we would love to field questions around innovation. Let's be more specific. Few of us may belong to a commodity market, and how can we bring innovation into that? So feel free to ask questions around innovation. I think I'm going to shoot the first one. Is there a framework to innovation? Is it a science? Is it an art? What's your take on it?
As I mentioned to you earlier, right, it has to be a top-down approach. You need to build the culture in the organization. We don't have an R&D team. We don't have an innovation team in ID. There's a team of 1,700 people, and all of us innovate. And we continue to get these customer problems from our own team. And then we use this data to innovate. For example, grated coconut was one such innovation, which came from the team. So it's important for us to bring that and then reward for all such new ideas, all such technology, or all such innovation. And most importantly, celebrate failures. Celebrating failures is something which we have to implement in the organization if we build innovative culture. And that's the only thing you need, by the way. If you have three things done, one, if you have the right top management promoting innovation, and if those people have common sense, and if you start promoting failures in the organization, you will find products like Vada. You will find products like KYC in the market.
Great. I love the point that it's a culture. It's not that you just hire, an innovation expert, bunch of people, and they will do the innovation while we do other things. It's within the organization itself, right from the top to the bottom.
Small. Let me tell you where we're going wrong. Where the organizers are mainly going wrong. Top management do not have common sense. Sorry to use that word, but that's a fact. They read something somewhere and try to just copy paste. Here, it doesn't work. What we need is common sense. Common sense is good enough for you to look around, identify customer problems. Common sense is all that you need to innovate.
Brilliant. Jawahar is asking, what percentage of your revenue is spent on innovation? Do you quantify that?
By the way, that is common sense is the most uncommon subject in the market these days.
That's true. That's true.
Well said, Mustafa. Well said.
Thank you.
Right. So Jawahar is asking, what percentage of your revenue is spent on innovation? Do you quantify it as an innovation spend?
In the last 10 years, I would have spent close to around 1 crore in 10 years on innovation.
And that I believe is bringing you a lot of revenues in return.
Of course.
Okay. People are loving to ask numbers. What percentage of your spend is on advertisements is the next question.
I think I mentioned to you already, right? We are a 1,500 crore worth brand today, and we spent totally 30 crores rupees in 10 years.
Great, great.
I strongly don't believe in advertisement. I think that's a question I said we'll park it towards the end in terms of brand building. That's on you, Anmol. Please ask me that question towards the end.
Sure. I will bring that up to know your low-cost advertisement hacks. We have a question from Sanjay. How do you celebrate failures? You use the word celebrate and failure. Normally, we don't put those two words in the same sentence. Yeah. How do you celebrate failure?
No, initially, when we fail, I used to get upset. Today, I don't get upset. I don't lose my confidence. I know to get a product like Vada, it is not going to be a 1 or 2, 3 or attempt. It is going to be 100 times attempt. So when we are there on 99th time, that is enough. That Vada we get. And if you taste that Vada and just give a pat on the shoulders of the people who are doing it, that is enough. That much of celebration is enough. You don't have to go to Taj Hotel and celebrate.
Great.
One more interesting question in the box, Anmol, if you permit, I'll ask.
Please.
Just a minute. Actually, one of our member asked about being a perishable product, how you are managing the supply chain.
Good question. I don't know whether I have time to answer it, but it takes some time. I can, Anmol, if time permits, I can answer it.
Please, sir, please go ahead.
Please.
So if you look at my DNA, I think let me just go back to DNA again. So this is my DNA, which is self-owned distribution system driven by technology. So when I say driven by technology, we invested on the distribution, fresh food distribution technology from day one. So let me just give you a story behind it. When we started ID, it took us 9 months to sell 100 packets, 9 months to get 20 customers. During those period, we were trying to send 100 packets to the market. 90 packets used to come back unsold because people are not willing to buy this batter from the market. Over a period of 3 years, we had grown. We were sending around 2,000 kg of batter per day into the market, in which 500 packets used to come back unsold. So in around, I think it was 2012 time, we were doing around 2,000 kg of batter per day in the market. 500 used to come back unsold. There was no way for me to make this business profitable and scalable with that kind of a wastage. That's when we started using technology. So we used 3 aspects of technology. Very, very important for a fresh food business. One, we geotagged every store. When we geotagged every store, we then used traffic data to traverse the right store at the right time based on different geographical parameters. So to ensure that every store is being reached at the right time every day, we used geotagged information to ensure that routes are properly clustered and structured. Second, geofencing. We geofenced every store with a 50-meter radius of the store location, and my salesman have to reach the store limits with this 50-meter radius of the store to do a transaction. And his salary and incentives are linked with number of transactions he does within the store limit. Thereby, I ensure that every store is being serviced every day. This is the second part. But the most important part is about data. Use data to sell idli. Use analytics to sell idli. What we've done the last 8-9 years, we started capturing store-wise, item-wise sales and wastage data. We now use this data to predict the right demand for the right store on the right day. We now use this data to plan my production. We now use this data to plan a zero inventory business model across. So today, in a mature city, matured product, which is a better product in a market like Bangalore, I'm running at less than 2% wastage. That is the power of technology. That my suggestion for any business is look at the ways to build a zero inventory business model across. Look at the ways to build a zero credit business across. Today, even today, ID is a zero debt company. I have never borrowed money. No interest. We don't pay interest, we don't take interest. Because interest is a trap. Once you fall into it, you will not come out, you will not be able to come out of it. So if you can build your business model without going in the interest route, you have a more sustainable business and safer business.
Right, I bet it gives you easier sleep even during times of crisis because there's no debt.
I don't have to worry about EMI.
Sure. Can you talk a little bit more of data analytics for the textile industry? You know, how, because we have a lot of textile entrepreneurs in this group, some, you know, concepts which can be applicable to exports in textiles.
So I think I'll be doing an unfair job if I tell you about a domain which I'm not comfortable with, but I can only tell you from a customer perspective, right? As an end customer, if if you can look at your inventory, and if you can find a way to create a zero inventory business model across using data analytics, right? I'm sure you'll be doing it. Things like which season, which product, right? What's a trend? Which shirt goes with which pant goes with this shirt. All those I know data analytics you guys will be doing it, but my suggestion would be get some expert in the domain who knows domain as well as technology, then plan it. I'm not the right person to comment.
Sure, but technology is a moat for ID Fresh.
Yeah, any doubt about Idli? Ask me, please.
But you do consider technology as a moat for your business.
You can't build a business without technology. You can't scale it up. Given, as you can see, that's one of the strong pillars of ID's DNA.
Great. We have time for two last questions. One, of course, is about, let's talk about advertising, your hacks and your beliefs.
I thought, do you want to talk about the crisis?
Yeah, sure.
Please proceed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll quickly, then I think we'll be late by around 10-15 minutes. Is fine.
No problem.
We have all the time.
No problem at all.
So let me just.
Now no one can say that we are busy.
So I just covered, let's go nuts, right? This is one of the campaigns that we've done, right?
Yeah.
So let me take COVID. Is it a crisis or a challenge? I think we should ask ourselves. If you start considering it as a crisis, you will regret. If you consider it as a challenge, you will become very innovative. So I'm going to talk about some of the GAN that I've read, right? And this is just GAN. And then what we have done in ID and how we innovated one product last week to solve a customer problem and one campaign that we are launching today. So let me cover those two. One, let me quickly go through this COVID crisis or challenge. These are things that I've learned. One, this time you need to survive. Do a stress test to see how you will manage your runway and business during the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. For example, in the case of ID, we did a scenario analysis to see what happens if we get only 25% revenue in Q1 and 50% in Q2. So we have analyzed our business model or cash flow. Be prepared for it. Don't cut to the bone. So this is something which we need to be careful about. If you are cut down all the expenses, fire all the employees, don't cut to the bone. Most important that we all need to be careful now is the cash. Don't look at your revenue during this time. Don't look at your profitability this time. What you need to look at is the cash. cash is the king. Even if your business is doing extremely well in terms of revenue and profitability, if you don't get cash, you are going to be in trouble. So cash is the king. Do anything to get cash in the next 3 to 6 months. Be authentic in your discussion and communication with the employees. Help customers during this crisis. Take good care of yourself, of course. Innovate in this crisis. I'm going to talk about innovation again. And for established companies, like most of you out here, I think you should be prepared for 18-24 months runway. If you're expecting that, you will come back to normal in the next 3 months, I'm sorry. I don't think that's going to happen. This is my personal view. It might take anywhere to 18-24 months for you to come back to the normal position. So be prepared for it. Now, let me tell you what did we do in ID. First thing that we did is we emotionally aligned our team for a purpose. As I mentioned initially, we took it as a service, not as a revenue. We have taken all safety work from home for all other employees. In fact, one of the best products that really worked for us during this time was Zoom. We conducted regular senior management messages, Zoom meetings with the entire team. We conducted doctor sessions for employees so that they get confident about this process that we're following. We started conducting daily senior management meetings. It was like one day at a time. Planning doesn't work in this crisis. We know that. But then we had to plan for one day. So we conducted daily meetings and focused one day at a time. We formed a COVID task force to monitor. This is something which I think most of us should be careful about. We also have put up a process for reporting. So for example, if any of the employee is down with fever, if you don't have a process, I can tell you that message will reach the entire world, saying that this person has COVID. You would have, flu. So for any employee who has a health issue, what we put up was a process for reporting, and then it goes through a screening team, and if it has to be communicated, we'll communicate. So we put up a communication process as far as the reporting process for any health issues. We decentralized decision making, regions to take a call. We focused on key markets, key stores, and key products. For example, we have 30,000 stores, 45 cities, 10 SKUs. During this crisis, Corona time, we focused on 10 cities, 3 products, and 10,000 stores, period. We ensured all the regulatory compliance are in place. We also worked with departments to get the necessary approvals to run the factory and the operation. We communicated with the customers and retailers on safety measures. We also communicated with the families of the employees to bring confidence to the family. As I mentioned earlier, we did a proper credit risk analysis because we know at this time, cash is the king. So we cut down customers who are not paying properly. Beauty of my business is 80% of the business is already cash. 20% was credit. Even this 20%, during this time, we decided to take a tough call. Some of the customers we stopped supply. Some of the very, very important customers we stopped supply. We did a worst case scenario analysis, as I mentioned earlier. What happens if I get only 25% of revenue in Q1 and 50% in Q2? How do you handle my cash? And most important thing, this is a time Jugaad approach works. We have to be still smart. Identify, leave it to the team. Let them figure out how to get it done. Now, as I mentioned earlier, role of a businessman is to identify problems, look around, identify customer problems, and solve it using common sense. So let me tell you one innovation that we've done in ID just a few days ago, just I think 5 days ago. This is something which I learned. Never let a good crisis go to waste. There's an opportunity in every crisis for a businessman. Identify that opportunity. In this case, let me tell you the issues that the customers are facing in the market today. These are the issues that all of us are going through in the last 3 weeks. One, most essential products are not available in many stores. Many stores are closed. There is a panic buying happening. Even when you reach the store, there's no product available in the store. Many of the e-grocery platforms were not able to serve fresh food because of the resource crunch. Single most worry is about what to feed our family, because we're all looking for healthier eating options in this crisis. We want to avoid junk food. Now, isn't it a problem? If you look at ID is built on an offline business model, which is nothing but our products are supplied to retailers and customers pick up from the retailer. I don't have an online business model. My online business model doesn't work because I don't have a direct home distribution system in place. So during the last few days, we have transformed ourselves into an online offline business model. 4 days is what it took for us to transform. So let me just tell you how we done it. We have identified an opportunity, which is, can we make our information available to customers? Meaning, as I mentioned earlier, we supply every product, every store, every day, but many stores are closed. So can I provide that information to end consumers? So in a span of 4 days, we launched a new product on ID website called Store Finder. How it works? You, on your location, nearby stores, ID system has the information about the list of open stores. ID system has the information about number of packs, products available in the store, stock availability in the store. And customers can search the locality in the locality list of open stores, and then either call up the number and they home deliver the products, or walk into the store, because we also provide the direction to the store on how to walk into the store. And most importantly, when the fresh stock arrives, customers get a SMS alert. So today when you walk in, assume you want to buy batter, assume the batter is sold out. You can subscribe for an alert. Tomorrow morning, let's say 7 a.m., when my sales boy supplies the store, stock in the store, let's say 50 kg batter is replenished in a store in Whitefield, let's say. All the customers who subscribe for an alert for Namdari Whitefield store get an SMS alert immediately, so that they can walk into the store and pick up the product, fresh product. So we try to transform the business model from an offline only business model to a mix of merge of online offline. I think it's an opportunity for a businessman to serve humanity and thereby build business. So let me just play that video for you on how it works. Can you see my screen? No.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
we
sir.
can see that.
Just check if video is on. Video is on?
Yes, it's
Yes,
playing.
yes, yes.
Audio works, right?
Yes.
Okay, let me just play. point I'm trying to communicate to you is any crisis is an opportunity for an entrepreneur. Many of the large businesses were built during crisis time. Look at products like Airbnb, Uber. They were all built during the last crisis. Probably this is the right time for us to innovate. All what you need is common sense. You need common sense to look around, identify customer problems, and solve it 3-4 days using common sense. If you have it, you will have a great business opportunity. I don't consider COVID as a crisis. I consider it as a challenge. I consider it as an opportunity for us to build a better world. Thank you.
Thank you. That was indeed very wonderful. Love the last segment, how we can use this as an opportunity. Quick bites from me about advertising, if we can.
So let me just, you explain to advertising, meaning this is the last question?
Yeah, this will be the last question.
Is there any questions in this segment other than this? I can take it. Then
Sure.
Then,
Anmol, I think we can take few questions.
Sure. Let me just open the box and
Should we introduce idli dosa to the whole world?
answer is, if somebody can create a multi-billion-dollar business out of a junk food by keeping, something in between two buns and call it something and make it popular across the world. What is stopping us to take world's best food across the world, which is nothing but idli and dosa? Just do a bit. I can't do it myself. Please join me.
Actually, someone asked me that question. Thank you.
Yes, Anmol.
yes. Yeah, that was Prithvi. You asked, can we introduce Idli to the entire world? Just going through some of the questions. What kind of ERPs do you use and for managing your systems?
We use SAP. We're
Okay.
using
Great. And how do you channelize cold storage distribution?
So we have our own distribution system. The whole thing is done, with a zero inventory business model. If you look at ID, if you walk into my factory or distribution centers today, you would have gone to the market this morning. And we use, for large routes, of course, we use proper cold chain. For smaller routes and for other cities, we use something but an insulated vehicle with a gel pack for the storage. And of course, I think the biggest challenge is the last mile storage again. Many stores switch off the chillers at night. They're not my customer. We don't supply to them.
Sure.
Post-COVID, what kind of customer behavior you are judging it will change pre-COVID, post-COVID? What kind of behavioral change we can expect from the consumers?
I think people will become, you will see a different world.
Okay.
You have to be prepared for it.
Okay.
If you're expecting that, we will all return to normalcy after this, 3-4 weeks, I think we are mistaken. You're wrong. You will find, as per the study that I have done and using the common sense that I have as on today, I think you will see people trending towards healthier food, trending towards more essential items, and keeping the luxury away.
Correct.
At least for the next, I would say 2 years is what I think I would predict.
Sure.
So Anmol, I think somebody's asking about the digital marketing, the way how you use digital marketing, and how do you look at the digital marketing's role in any business? Somebody is asking a question.
I think that's a very, very important question. It's actually linked with the marketing. Should I take that last question then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question, right? Okay. So Many people ask this question, how did you build this brand ID without spending money? Because by spending money, many people do it. We have spent just 30 crores in 10 years. And that too, we started spending only in the last 3-4 years, by the way. Only when we got VC funding, not before that. Even now, we don't spend much money. Last year, I think we spent around, last financially, we spent around 6 crore rupee, 6-7 crores rupee approximately. How do you build a brand? I think this is something I want you to take away from this session. Just keep this in mind. It's like a triangle. There are 3 points that you need to keep in mind to build a brand. Assume it's a triangle. First corner of the triangle is the product. Your product should be a hero. Let me take, an example of ID. Very crispy, yummy in taste, not very heavy. Kids love that, and you feel like eating one more vada after eating one vada. So that's the kind of product that you need to launch. If you don't get the product right, don't even attempt in building a brand. You're wasting your time. Spend your money instead of spending money in advertisement, spend your money in getting the product right. Your product should be a hero. 1. Second corner of the triangle is all about memorable user experience. Remember this point? Memorable user experience. When I said memorable user experience, let me take the vada example again. I don't sell vada. I gave vada batter in a pouch. When the customer squeezed the vada batter and vada batter was coming out from the vada pack in the right round shape, that was like a wow moment for many of the customers. This was their first vada in their life. Kids started making vada using my vada pack and posted selfie on Instagram. If you do something for the first time in your life, you will remember your lifetime. So my second tip to you is give a memorable user experience to customer so that he or she will remember you for your lifetime. Don't spend money in advertisement. Spend money in giving this memorable user experience to customer with a hero product. And the last part of the triangle is all about well-crafted storytelling. That's all you need. Because we have seen many advertisements. We don't remember it, right? We don't remember ads, but we remember stories. Even in the case of vada, we use different platforms to share the vada story with the world. When we got an opportunity to speak at Harvard, I talked about vada, and that got us great brand mileage. So if I look at the whole brand building framework, I may not have got great revenue from vada, but vada helped us, a product like vada helped us to create a strong brand that we are today. And that is done using these 3 points, these 3 corners of the triangle. Hero product, memorable user experience, and well-crafted storytelling. That's all you need to build a brand. You don't have to spend money in advertisement. Marketing expense, we spent 1.4 lakhs rupees to create that video. Just 1.4 lakhs rupees. 0 paise in promoting it. Last year, this was one of the most viral video on WhatsApp. It went across the world. Today I'm getting inquiry from different part of the world to make the same thing for donuts. So you don't need money to build a brand. You need innovative products. Hero product, memorable user experience, well-crafted storytelling. This framework is good enough for you to build a brand, not money. Having said that, let me end this show with one story of my personal experience. This story of a person called Itta. I call her Itta. She used to work with us 10 years ago. She's a widow. During this lockdown, last week, I was recently thinking about her. So managed to get her number from my mom, and I decided to call her and asked her how she was. And when I asked her, Khana Kaya, in Malayalam, in fact I asked her in Malayalam, Itta Kaicharno. She started crying and making prayers for me. It was a gesture that neither of us will ever forget. She had enough food to eat. She had enough food left for a month. Even then, when I asked her Khana Kaya, she cried for a reason. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, right? That is when I understood the larger purpose of the word Khana Kaya. As probably you would have seen, Khana Kaya is ID's best campaign till date. And we usually do it on Mother's Day, which is 10th May. Today, we are launching the same campaign, Khana Kaya, but with a twist. Mother's love is the purest form of love. It can't wait till May 10th. The world needs messages of compassion, love, and care. This is not just a campaign, but a deeper emotion. When a mother asks you Khana Kaya, she means I love you. But when you ask someone Khana Kaya, it means you remember, you care, you are there for them. Whether it is your relative, your senior citizen, cook, driver, a friend, or anyone for the matter who is economically dependent on you. I request all of you to watch this video and call them and ask them a simple question, Sapitacha or Khana Kaya, whatever in your right language, and see the kind of impact a simple question have on them. During this crisis, people like Itta just need our phone call. Don't wait for tomorrow. Call them today. Ask them this question, Khana Kaya or Sapitacha, Utaita, Pashtangaicho, whatever, the respective language. And help us to make this world a better place. Let me play this video for you, the campaign that we're launching today. And you're the first team to watch it.
Oh, great.
Sorry, 1 second. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll just quickly play and see whether the audio is okay. Can you?
There was no audio on that. We couldn't hear anything. I don't think there's audio on that. If you can just.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Audio.
it's there. Yeah, it's there.
Watch this.
Yes.
We're just launching it today afternoon, in fact.
Hello?
Hello, ma'am. Sunil here. 10th B, 2005 batch. Sunil Kumar.
Ah, yes. Sunil Kumar. How are you, beta?
Fine, ma'am. And you?
I'm okay. Managing. Are you okay?
Actually, thought of the day when you saw me hungry and drinking water from the tap. You'd never let me go hungry after that. And your words, Your words brought love and comfort to me. It's my turn now, ma'am. खाना खाया क्या?
Thank you, beta.
When mom asks you khana khaya, she means I love you. But when you ask someone khana khaya, it means you remember. You care. You're sharing the love of a mother. So call your elderly neighbors, your colleagues, friends, and family. Let them know you care.
That was indeed very heart-touching, but a loss of words. Thank you so much, Mr. Mustafa.
I actually, Mr. Anmol, 1 minute. From all our own places, we should all give a standing ovation to the inspiring entrepreneur of our times.
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. If you loved the session, type loved in the chat box. This is what we want to see. This is what we want you to share with others. Mr. Mustafa, it's just been, I would say, a journey of goosebumps, learning, knowledge, insights, a lot of action points to take away from this webinar. I think one of the best webinars I've attended, in this year for sure. Pleasure interacting with you. Thank you so much. You can see all the love coming from the attendees.
Just summarize my message in one word. It is such a coincidence that I had a dream during my childhood days. And that was to eat breakfast. I never had an opportunity to eat breakfast during my childhood days. 3-time meal was a distant dream during my childhood days. Today, we touch the life of 1 million people with the world's best food, idli, on a daily basis. It's just a coincidence. My only request to you is, use this opportunity to innovate. Use this opportunity to spread the right word in the world. Use this opportunity to build a better world. Keep eating idli every day. Thank you again for this great opportunity. God bless you all. Jai Hind.